Welcome back to ELT Scholars. Miss Peachaboni here, and we've missed you. So, your ELT teacher probably already told you that ELT works a little bit differently. So yesterday, you all took a pretest. If you didn't finish it yesterday, you should have had the opportunity to finish it at the beginning of ELT today. So basically, you take a pretest each week, and then I collect the Scantrons and find out your grade. Once I look at your grade, I then determine how much you need to grow to be able to be successful for the week's topic. So the topics will be different each week. This week for Algebra I, your topic is going to be equations, expressions, and we also might get into inequalities. I want to shout out Isaac G and George G. Thank you for your feedback. Keeping on. And I also want to tell you about our ELT competition. So all Algebra I ELTs are in a competition. So each week you take your pretest, you get a score and a growth goal. And then you spend the rest of the week practicing the topics from your pretest, and then the last day of each week you take a post-test. The ELT with the most scholars who meet their growth goal will win something very, very special. It's a surprise, but will win something very, very special the Monday after they take their post-test. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started with exercise 1. So, for number 1, this says, will the solution of an equation such as x minus 3 equals 9 be a variable or a number? What I want you to do right now is write down what you think. You have 10 more seconds to write down what you think. So will the solution be a variable or a number? Now you have 30 seconds to turn to your elbow partner and tell them at a level 1 which one you chose and why. So each person should spend 15 seconds sharing. Go ahead, your 30 seconds starts now. Ten more seconds. Okay, so if you put variable, unfortunately, you are not correct. Because an equation, like this one, the variable is already there. In this case, the variable is x. So when I solve or get a solution of the equation, which I would do simply by performing the inverse of -3, which is +3, I find out x equals 9, 10, 11, 12. This is my solution. It's a value. It's a number. So if you put number, you are correct. However, there is a much better word we could use for what 12 is than number. If you know what word we could use instead of 12, what algebraic vocabulary word we could use instead of number, raise your hand silently. If you get it correct, your teacher will award you 1 bonus ELT merit. So I'm giving us about 10 seconds for someone to try and get this. Okay, so if you said constant and you raised your hand silently and your teacher called on you, you get that bonus ELT merit. So in algebra, there's variables, which are letters that represent an unknown value, and then constants, which are just plain old numbers that don't change. Okay, so through 2 through 19, you are solving each equation. Now, these are one-step equations, so you are only going to have to do one thing to isolate your variable and thus get a solution. So 2 through 4 are a review. So I want you to do 2, 3, and 4 by yourself, silently, and you have 3 minutes starting now. Teachers, please set the timer for 3 minutes for 2, 3, and 4. Scholars, if you finish before the timer's 3 minutes is up, you can get up and check the key and then move on if you feel confident. Okay, so for number 2, you should have gotten S equals 8. For number 3, W equals 21. And then for number 4, K equals positive 1. Okay, so let's get into some other examples. So I'm going to go ahead and do number 7 with you. So what that means is, if I'm writing something down, you're writing something down, we're in this together. So some people tend to get really scared when they see fractions. But it's the same way, you do it the same way you would as if it was just a whole number, okay? So I'm still going to separate my equation into 2 parts. And I'm just going to write it again. And then I look at my variable. What's being done to my variable? Oh, it's being reduced by 1/8. What's the opposite of having negative 1/8? Positive 1/8. So a negative 1/8, positive 1/8, that becomes 0, so I'm left with T equals. Now, I have to add my fractions here. When adding fractions, I need a common denominator. 8 and 8, common denominator, 3 plus 1 is 4. So T equals 4/8. Now, if you wanted to be really fancy, you could also simplify this fraction. I know 4 is half of 8, so T also equals 1/2. Okay. So that's just a little intro with fractions. Now with a partner, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You're going to go back and do number 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So teachers, please go ahead and start the 3-minute timer. Once again, if you finish early, you can get up and check the key yourself. Okay guys, so this time the 3 minutes should be up. Hopefully you had a chance to check your answers. If not, please do so at your next available moment, or your teacher can read them to you as well for just the ones that I circled. I want to talk about number 12. Now for number 12, we have a fraction and a whole number. So I separate my equation, and then you should have subtracted 2/3 from both sides. Positive 2/3, negative 2/3, that's 0, and I'm left with B equals 2 minus 2/3. So if I have 2 minus 2/3, I don't have a common denominator. I do know, though, every whole number has a common denominator of 1. So I need to find a common denominator between 1 and 3. I know 1 times 3 equals 3, so I'm going to change this fraction to have a denominator of 3. So 1 times 3 equals 3, so whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 2 times 3 equals 6. So this becomes 6/3 minus 2/3. 6 minus 2 is 4/3. So B equals 4/3. If you got that one, oh man, give yourself a pat on the back. Now what I want you to do now is do 13 through 20 with a partner. 13 through 20. When you and your partner are finished, please get up, check the key. You and your partner have 7 minutes to get to number 20. Once you've checked number 20 and you feel confident, you know how to do this, 21 through 50 is independent practice. So again, once you've completed number 20, you move on to 21 through 50, which is independent practice. Thank you so much for your work today. Keep it up. Keep it up. Goodbye.